oddities that won't have me gripping at my chest the moment I swallow. I know she'll make sure of that. Finishing breakfast, I decided to take a morning walk like I did yesterday. Made sure to bring a notepad like I suggested, and it
My Chatterino has told me that I am now offline. That is not correct, Chatterino. Why would you lie to me this way?
proved to be
Chatterino
a smart
is like,
investment.
Ultralight is now offline.
That
like,
old fool was
pretty
out
sure
on
I'm
the bridge
not.
again. This time he
Pretty
brought
sure I'm still
himself an
alive.
easel, and a whole bag's worth of whatever painting supplies you could think of. To be honest, I'm surprised someone of his age was able to carry it all. He was just silently painting the riverbank, and I would assume he's had practice, since what he had done so far was fairly decent. At the very least, you could tell what he was painting. And this time he noticed me coming
The highest praise.
and again he greeted me much the same way he did before, shaking his hands and uncomfortable looks and whatnot. What deviated from before, however, was that we were actually able to communicate. I would write down a few words onto the notepad, and he would write some more, and lines of thought were conveyed. He didn't give me a name, despite me asking, but he delved into other things. Apparently he has traveled the world searching for simple spots to paint. The fool told me, however, that it's not the landscape he comes for, and no, he didn't relinquish
Why are you
that
referring to this
information
man as
either.
the fool?
But
He's
I
just,
mustn't complain,
he's
really.
vibing.
I don't know the man. Yet he has that sort of charm. A type that keeps you invested, even through written conversations. He's old, so he's bound to have a few stories to tell. Something to keep me entertained, at least.
This is the most, like, AI-generated image I've ever seen.
21st of September, 1950. Marie arrived today. The first thing she does when she walks through the front door was ask...
He doesn't have an effing ear. Like, that is an AI-generated image. He doesn't have an ear. I ate his ear? It looks like someone ate his ear. Look at his hat. That's not a real person.
Asking whether or not
What the
I've been
F?
taking my medication. I swear the woman does not trust me to take care of myself. Still, she means well. I'll give her that much. She was hounding on to me, though, when I had mentioned my daily walks. Apparently walking, or any continuous physical activity whatsoever is...
Stop making fun of the British! Look at him! That's an amazing username. Wow. Mommy Sebastian, thank you so much for the follow. Is that like... That wouldn't be like a Black Butler thing, would it? If you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. Just ignore me.
Not exactly the best thing for me.
Anyway, thanks
especially
for the follow.
if I'm
Hope
doing
you
it
enjoy.
alone. She went on about how my heart won't be able to pump enough blood to keep me standing.
I don't want to get closer to
my
this
legs
man.
would start to swell, binding me to a wheelchair. That is also something she brought, by the way. Plan for the future as much as you want, but it doesn't make me feel any better that you're expecting me to need a wheelchair. Might as well have smashed my dignity with a hammer, and have thrown the pieces out the window to be pecked at by the birds.
I don't know, man.
In other news, I also
not want
saw
to be able to
that
get
old
around?
fool
Like,
out on the bridge. Actually, I don't think I've written down anything he's told me so far. I've had him convey a few stories of his globe-trotting adventures through the notepad. I won't write them all here in this entry, but I might as well transcribe at least one. Actually, I'll just attach a page he wrote it all on. Here it is.
I remember a few years back when I was in Moscow. There was this point where the pavement bridged over a lower road,
why does he look
and you
like
could
that?
barely see St. Basil's over the rooftops. In the evenings, the sun would just peer over the Orthodox spires, letting down slivers of light through the clouds that would dance with the snow as it fell. A perfect place to paint, and I met a lot of people too, all of them with their stories to tell. There was this
like
older
the
woman,
current British
dressed
king?
up in furs, that had left a former lover when she was younger, and she regretted it every day since. You see, in a strange way that she herself did not fully understand, she truly loved the man.
Did I go like down? Why is it's like Ulster Night is now live? I've been live for a while. Like, at least 2 hours. What is why does Stream Elements of Chatterino think that I stopped being live? What happened? I think everything's
sorrow
EP.
plagued her eyes, dimming it so easily.
My stream crashed. Uh-oh. Your stream says 5 minutes? Did it crash at some point? Did you guys get the, like, not like this? Yeah? Did that just happen? Your stream says 1 hour? Okay, for me it says 2 hours. Did you guys just all come back? Do you guys have no idea what's happening in this video now? Well, that's so cool.
Away. She had stopped to look
That's
at myself
happening and
painting
like
the
it
rooftops.
was like right in the middle.
And
Okay.
as she did, the man she left
I don't
walked
know
on
what's
the road
happening in this video,
underneath.
I'm gonna be honest.
To her dismay, however, his arms were wrapped around another. He had moved on, while she had
went
not.
back and it works.
I
Okay.
gave up on the rooftops and started
Twitch.
painting her then.
We
And
love
I feel,
Twitch.
in some sense, that seeing that man again gave her the chance to put the regret behind her. It was a wondrous spot indeed, and I'll never forget it.
Honestly, I don't believe all of it. How the hell would the fool have known what any of the people he met were on about if he couldn't hear a thing they said? But perhaps he wasn't deaf then. I don't know. Still, it's a nice anecdote.
Not again? Uh-oh. Now, when you guys say, now, am I still here? Now, when you guys say not again, does that mean... Laugh if you understand this? I mean, I can, like, haha? Haha. I can read this. What do you want from me? I'm gonna continue
more
with
of
the
a
video.
reminiscence, I
Surely you
suppose.
guys are still watching.
Even if it isn't all true. 31st of September 1950. The nightmares are still running rampant. You have to wonder why your brain will make you face terrible situations during a time when you're supposed to be resting and tranquil.
The brain is stupid,
It
man.
only seems counterproductive. Or maybe the mind is just too good at making things up.
For when it
And said the swelling was
totally.
expected. Apparently that's why she brought the wheelchair. It could get worse before it gets better. I don't need it yet. And that's not the bride talking. Though I must admit, getting up is steadily becoming more difficult. Either way, I was able to slip out. My sister went into town to get a few things, giving me ample time to have a walk. Of course, I went out to the bridge, and once again,
Did
the
someone
old
take
fool
on
was
someone's
there
face on
painting
that
his
guy?
heart out.
Yeah, I think someone
wanted to
went
paint
to
me,
like
though.
I think someone just used an AI generated human face.
Out of all things. I declined, of course, but I must admit that the gesture was flattering, to say the least. I was able to get another story out of him,
Flattering?
but not much else. I suppose he's just very private on certain matters, and it's not my place to pry.
I've been to France before, but it was a long time ago. In fact, I used to have a residence in Paris, but it was more of a summer home on the outskirts of the city. In any case, I remember I once went to Normandy. In particular, I was in Bayeux. There was this spot in its medieval center on the corner of an intersection, where half-timbered houses funneled down towards a cobblestone plaza. It was positioned just perfectly to where, on certain nights, the moon would rise aligned with the plaza. There was this younger man with curling brown hair and a longer face. He would ride past me every morning and every evening on his bicycle, except on Sundays. You see, he had a passion, or something of that sort. He would go to the cathedral cemetery and etch tombstones and plaques onto paper, looking for the more offset graves that stood alone when he could. Then, with the etchings in tow, he would go to the town hall or library and search for records of the person whose tombstone he copied. He'd find out who they were, what they did, what they were like, what they accomplished, and what they left behind. I wouldn't say he had a reason for participating in this hobby of his, nor would I say he needed one. He was dedicated, and through it he found fulfillment, so it wasn't necessarily a pointless task. That, I found, made his actions that much more enthralling.
Wild.
6th of October, 1950. I'll admit, it's getting much harder to walk now. It's not just the swollen legs, though they play a great part in it. I'm becoming short of breath, and I can feel my heart racing as I move about. It's just becoming far too tiring. But anything can happen, I suppose. My sister, on the other hand, has not been able to take her eyes off me lately. It's not that I don't appreciate what she's doing, but I think she's starting to take it a little too far.
I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
She's controlling my diet to a T, making sure not a single speck of salt happens to find its way sprinkled onto my soup. In fact, it's only soup she's been forcing me to eat, along with a few sandwiches here and there. If she weren't my sister, I'd tell her to bugger off, but I can't, obviously. I was able to sneak out again, however, to participate in walks that I, for some reason, desperately crave. To be honest, I simply find it a soothing activity. In nature, I find it easier to lose myself in thought.
Time here. How are you? Pretty
Lost
good.
in thought is a very pleasant state of being.
We're just watching SCP videos. We're almost at the end of this one. By almost the end, I mean it's still like 10 more minutes. I wasn't expecting it to be this long, but I want to know what happens now.
Besides, I've got to enjoy my legs while I still can. And yes, I did happen to find my way back to that tramway bridge. It's not that I intend to go there every time I take a stroll, but it's just become a part of the route, I suppose. Anyway, the old man was painting there again. I'm not sure whether he's been painting the same thing and simply has started over, who knows how many times, or if he's a perfectionist. He wanted to paint me again, like last time. I declined, though I felt bad about it. He seems rather sincere if I'm reading his expressions correctly, but he's far too polite to state that fact. Either way, we still converse.
I don't know why you would decline. I would love to get my picture painted.
He listened, but I could tell he was taking it in. Really listening, or reading in this case. He's the type who cares no matter who you are. At least, that's what I'm taking from him. Actually, I find it rather ironic. He's one of the few people who truly listen. Being there as that person you can simply talk to, but the fool can't hear a thing.
I don't know why you keep calling him the fool. He's simply some guy.
17th of October 1950. It's official. I can no longer walk. When I was younger, I dreaded old age. Especially when we'd visit my great-grandfather out near Monmouth. He couldn't walk 2 steps unless he was gripping onto this crooked cane of his. When he was tired of walking, he would have my great-grandmother push him around on his wheelchair. I can still hear the wheels squeaking over the floorboards. He wasn't a bad...
Oh my god. It's official, I'm married to him. What? ¿Qué es eso? Uh-oh. Is it how are you? I know Spanish. If that's the question, I'm doing great, Duo. How are you? We're watching SCP videos, you know? I wasn't expecting this one to be this long.
But I had no intention of reaching the age when walking
What
became
is this?
a chore.
Oh, okay. SCP videos. So, if you don't know what an SCP is... I'm gonna quickly explain an SCP. It's like this internet thing where people like make a bunch of different like monsters or anomalies and stuff, and then they write stories about them. Bonk. No. It's just a YouTube channel that just reads SCP videos, so you know what an SCP is. I don't need to explain SCP. It's, I don't know, it's some painter guy.
Than anything.
It's fiction?
I'll admit
Yes.
I wasn't expecting
it
that
is.
age to be 34. Charming, isn't it? At any rate, I think I'm finally confined to this prison of mine. Unless my sister has the desire to push me around the garden every day, I think I'll have to make do with the porch. You know, now that I'm stuck, my thoughts have been racing. Everything that I could ever think of has just been popping into my mind and leaving just as quickly as if it's the roundabout round the Arc de Triomphe.
Let's fix it. What did Big do
I
10-year-old me
swear
at
I've
night?
solved more world problems in my
Feel
mind
that.
in a single day compared to centuries humanity has had to do that for itself. However, it's the strangest thing.
Now, but now that I think about it, actually, I feel like SCPs probably became a thing when I was in high school. I'll go look it
No
up.
matter what tangent I seem to go off on, I keep coming back to that fool on the bridge. And I don't know why. And before you get any ideas, the thoughts are nowhere near the questionable natures. I gave up on those tendencies when you know what happened. But that's the thing. Every time I think of the fool painting the same scene over and over, doing nothing else with his day, I start to think about him. I suppose they're both similar.
This guy was just like, I'm not, no homo, but... Hi, Mischief, how are you doing? The guy was just like, no homo, but I do think about this man constantly. That's so cool for this guy. I'm great, this guy
Private,
over
like, to
audition.
make
Yo,
themselves as
I
mysterious
hope
as
it went
possible.
well.
Polite, sincere, all those things. The only real differences, I'd say, are age and looks. Yet thinking on him just brings in regret. Regret and a lot of guilt.
No, I don't
Actually,
think
now
so.
that
To
I'm
be fair,
writing
there's
this
probably
down,
like a
perhaps my condition
50-year
is
like age gap between the two.
punishment. The universe balancing out the many mistakes I've made. Getting back at me, as it were. Who knows? But if that...
Okay, you know what? SCPs are, a lot older than I thought. If you were to ask me when I thought the SCP, like, database started happening, I wouldn't have guessed 2008. I probably would have guessed 2011. 2008.
That is the case.
Maybe I was 10 when it, like, came out.
I'd say it's
then.
a fulfilling consequence. And I deserve no better.
I would have. It's got early internet vibes. Yeah, but so do the backrooms. And backrooms, like, I want you guys to guess when the first image of the backrooms was posted on to 4chan. Because what happened? My chat keeps disconnecting. I don't know, man. This is, you know. It was 2019. I don't know why you guys are guessing 2020 and 2021.
26th of October, 1950. I haven't got much to say in this entry, really. Being bound to a wheelchair hardly brings about any intrigue to make the day more
Body question?
interesting.
Yo, let's
The
go.
only interest that I can get is what I can think
So you're
of.
telling me I missed 15 years of
That and a
this?
few books that have
Yeah,
been lying
there's
around.
a lot. There's a
Found
lot.
one that I'm enjoying quite well. Well, enjoying to laugh at. Starts out with a church on fire, but a sole survivor escapes the blaze as expected. An arsonist on the loose who has a backward way of looking at religion. And a deputy that's in too far over his head. Apparently it's based off real events, but I hardly find that believable. In any case, I realize that I have neglected to convey one of the anecdotes that the old fool wrote out for me during one of our conversations. It's hardly important, but I really don't have anywhere else to put the paper where he wrote it all out on.
There's a guy now.
Either way, it's something. Otherwise, this entry would be all about how incompetently written that book is. And that alone is far too much to write down in a single entry.
Many years ago, I found myself wandering the brooks trickling down the Rocky Mountains near Montana. Of course, I am referring to the United States. I've always been fond of nature, and hiking was a hobby of mine when I was a younger man. You must give the States where credit is due. Their wilderness, where it still stands, is a sight to behold. While I was there, I came across a peculiar but very interesting spot. It was a clearing amidst pine trees, a bit farther off the beaten path
Bro,
than
is
I
it
tend to
starting to
go.
go dark? It looks
but
like
I
it.
knew
Gotta
I
check
made
out,
the
just
right
want to pop in and
choice.
say hi. All good, duo.
If I stayed very still,
Have a good night.
a deer or an elk would creep out from the trees, coming to bask in the sun as the pine canopy hardly let but a sliver of light through. They made excellent subjects for my paintings, but they weren't the reason why I picked up that spot. Nearby, a group of people were huddled up in nothing bigger than a shipping container. You see, they were researchers of sorts, studying a particular natural phenomena that I myself didn't ever get a look at. They had been sent there, and they were no closer to figuring it out than they were when they started. Then, one night, one of them had disappeared, vanished without a trace. It was a middle-aged man, older than me at the time, and they searched for him to no avail. They only found his cracked pocket watch under an overturned stone. Perhaps something terrible happened to that man. That's always a possibility. Though I've come to think that perhaps he didn't want to be found. After all, the institute he researched for was too cold and systematic for his liking.
To think the old fool might have gotten caught up in some secret government research operation and didn't even realize it. Write that into a book. It would sell a lot better than the one I'm reading. 8th of November, 1950. Final entry. I was going to have that old fool paint me today. Well, I did in a way. I got Nari to push me out there to the bridge and everything. Thing is, he wasn't there.
Oh, that sucks.
I don't know what I was expecting, really. A man can't be there every day, surely.
Sure.
To be honest, though, I was looking forward to the distraction. However, like I mentioned, I didn't leave empty-handed. On the ground, where he usually has his easel set, there was a canvas wrapped up in this wax paper and tied off with some cheap-looking string. A little note written in the man's handwriting bearing my name was attached. Now that I think about it, I don't recall giving him my name since he never gave me his. Strange. In any case, I would have torn through the paper then and there, but Marie insisted on doing it back at the house. I don't know why, but I didn't have the energy to argue. Back to the house we went, and my sister left me to my own devices out in the garden as she went to fix some sandwiches and tea. As I was alone, it seemed the perfect time to get a look at whatever I got from the bridge. Turns out it was a painting like I expected. The thing is, it was a painting of me riding a bike out on the tramway. It was enough to get me to chuckle, but not in a bad way. Far from it. But while I was putting it down, I noticed something written on the back of the canvas, written in what appeared to be charcoal.
It does not matter if others forgive you if you can't forgive yourself. It will be painful at first, and the scars will show, but then you can start living again.
I don't know. It's probably some advice he ripped out of a self-help novel or something, but it's almost as if he knows. And I genuinely believe that. I've regretted that day for so long. But you know what? I think I'm ready to move on. That's right. I said it. I'm ready to put it behind me. Or attempt to, at least. With these words, the regret and the guilt are to never again plague my thoughts, and I will be able to live on my numbered days feeling at peace with what I will be leaving behind. But if only it were that simple.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting SCP.
I think that about does it for today.
Yeah, real.
Thank you for listening.
You
if
said
indeed
it.
You still are.
I think that about does it for today as well. Alright, thank you guys for showing up for SCP today. I know, shorter stream, well, actually not even that much shorter. Ugh, but I'm eepy. Eepy. It is time to find someone to raid. I probably would have played a video game today if I wasn't working tomorrow, but I'm working tomorrow, and you know? Oh my god, guys, chill vibes with the hecking frog. Let's go. They're playing Stardew Valley with Welcome to Plague Town. Yes. Yes. We're gonna raid them. So, I will be streaming tomorrow, later than I usually do on Fridays. Fridays I usually try to stream at, 3, but I can't tomorrow because I am working. So, I will be streaming at, like, 6 or 7 PST, doing some knitting, like I usually do on Fridays. And I also have next week off. So I'll probably be streaming on, like, at least Monday, but maybe also Tuesday, depending on what time I'm, like, leaving for my trip. And then I won't be streaming that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because I will be camping. Anyways, I'll see you guys in Hiking Frogs chat. Again, thank you guys for being here today. And I will see you tomorrow. Yes, yes, yes. We're raiding Hiking Frog. They're playing Stardew Valley, so good, chill vibes. You know. To, go to sleep to, you know?